why your silence is costing you your life. I want you to think about something for a moment. How many times have you walked into a room, as a doctor's office, a boardroom, a space where your voice should matter, and you stayed silent? How many times have you felt dismissed, overlooked, unheard? And instead of speaking up, you walked away telling yourself it wasn't worth the fight. For Black women, this is not a hypothetical question. This is our reality, and it is literally costing us our lives. I recently had the profound privilege of sitting down with Lashawn Reid. And if you don't know who Lashawn is, let me tell you. Lashawn is not just a cancer survivor, they are a cancer warrior. Twice they have faced this disease and survived. And now they are facing it a third time with the same fierce courage, the same unwavering clarity, and the same refusal to be silenced that has defined their entire journey. But here's what makes Lashawn's story so powerful, so transformative, so necessary for us to hear today. It is not just about survival, it is about the refusal to be overlooked. It is about the insistence on being heard. It is about understanding deeply and profoundly that self care is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. And self advocacy, it is not optional, it is essential. LaShawn's impact on this world, especially for Black women navigating the intersections of health, entrepreneurship, and leadership, is nothing short of revolutionary. They are teaching us that our voices matter, that our lives matter, that advocating for ourselves is not about being difficult or demanding, it is about survival. And today, I want to share the insights from our conversation, insights that challenge everything we have been taught about strength, success, and what it really means to survive. Let me ask you this. How many of us have been taught that speaking up, especially in spaces where we are not always welcomed or believed, is risky? How many of us have sat in a doctor's office, felt the sting of dismissal, felt our pain minimized, our concerns brushed aside, and walked out without saying a word because we did not want to be labeled difficult, angry, demanding, ungrateful? For Black women, this is not a fear. This is a lived reality, and it is killing us. LaShawn Reid's journey is a testament to the power of self advocacy. Surviving cancer twice and now facing it a third time, LaShawn has learned that persistence in the face of dismissal is not just important, it is life saving. But here is the counterintuitive truth that LaShawn's story reveals: the very act of advocating for yourself, the very insistence on being heard, is often met with resistance, not support. Resistance. We live in a world that tells us to trust the experts, to defer to authority, to be polite, to be patient, to wait our turn. But what happens when those experts overlook us? What happens when that authority dismisses our pain? What happens when being polite means being dead? LaShawn's answer is clear. You speak up anyway. You refuse to be overlooked. You insist on being seen. You demand the care you deserve. This is not about being difficult. This is about survival. And for Black women, especially those of us who have been conditioned to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders without complaint, this is revolutionary. This is radical. This is necessary. LaShawn's story teaches us that self advocacy in healthcare is not a privilege, it is a necessity. It is the difference between life and death. And yet, so many of us are still waiting for permission to speak up, waiting for someone to validate our pain before we demand the care we deserve, waiting for the world to see us as worthy of being heard. LaShawn is telling us, stop waiting. Your voice matters. Your life depends on it. Now, let's talk about self care. And I do not mean the kind of self care that has been commodified and sold to us in the form of spa days and bubble baths and scented candles. I mean the kind of self care that is about survival. The kind that is about showing up fully in your life, your work, your purpose. The kind that is about nurturing your mind and your body, your spirit. So you do not just survive, you thrive. Dr. Nika White understands this deeply. She is a DEI consultant and podcast host who has built her entire leadership philosophy around wellness and self care, specifically for Black women entrepreneurs and professionals. Dr. White knows that self care is not about indulgence, it is about effectiveness. It is about being able to lead, to create, to build without burning out. Dr. White's journey began with her own experiences of overwork. She was doing all the things we are told to do, working hard, showing up, giving everything. And she realized this is not sustainable. Sustainable impact requires prioritizing self care. So she started investing in daily wellness practices, simple things, using a walking pad for physical activity, creating intentional spaces for leaders to unplug and recharge. She hosts events called Unplugged for HR Professionals, where they can step away from the constant demands and just breathe. And the outcomes, they are powerful. Participants report increased emotional resilience, clarity, a renewed sense of purpose. And that translates into more effective leadership, healthier work cultures, better lives. But here is the counterintuitive insight that Dr. White's work reveals. Self care is not just about feeling good, it is about being effective. It is about being able to show up as your best self. It is about recognizing that your well being is a strategic asset, not a luxury, not something you do when you have time, but a necessity, a foundation. Dr. White's approach is reshaping expectations for Black women in leadership. She's encouraging us to prioritize our well being not because we are weak, but because we are wise. Not because we cannot handle the pressure, but because we refuse to let the pressure destroy us. And this is where Lashawn Reid's story intersects with Dr. White's work. Both are teaching us that self care is foundational to professional and entrepreneurial success. It is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. And for Black women navigating high pressure environments, it is the difference between thriving and merely surviving. Let me tell you about Etiona Scott. She is the founder of EM Delish, the only African American woman owned heart healthy dressing and marinade brand in major retailers. Think about that for a moment. The only one. In an industry dominated by white men, Etiona carved out a space for herself. But it was not easy. She faced systemic barriers, skepticism about her brand's viability, questions about whether there was even a market for what she was creating. And on top of all of that, she was battling to maintain her own health while scaling her business. Ichiona's journey began after personal health scares. She realized that the food she was eating was not serving her, it was hurting her. So she became a fierce advocate for her own health. She designed products that addressed her personal dietary needs. She leveraged her lived experience to educate customers and retailers about the importance of heart health. She turned her pain into purpose. And the impact M. Delish achieved placement in major retail chains. She set a new standard for representation and healthy options in the marketplace. But more than that, Ichiona's success has inspired other Black women entrepreneurs to prioritize their health and advocate for themselves, not just in healthcare settings, but in business. She is teaching us that self advocacy is not just about speaking up in a doctor's office. It is about designing a life and a business that honors your well being. It is about refusing to sacrifice your health for success. It is about understanding that true success includes your wellness. Now let's talk about community, because here's the thing. Self-advocacy and self-care are not solo journeys. They require support. They require a network of people who affirm your wellness and resilience. They require safe spaces where you can be vulnerable without judgment. Chelsea Williams understands this. She is a Black woman entrepreneur who uses her platform to promote fitness, wellness, and the necessity of community support for professional women. Chelsea faced the same emotional and economic pressures that so many Black women in business face: isolation, the constant demand to perform, the expectation that you will always be strong, always be on, always be available. But Chelsea chose a different path. She publicly shares her fitness journey. She celebrates milestones. She builds a community of support around wellness. She encourages others to prioritize self care and collective resilience. Chelsea's commitment to wellness grew from her personal need to manage stress and remain grounded amid business challenges. She completed a 10K. She is training for a half marathon. She is modeling the integration of wellness into a busy professional life. And the impact? Her openness has fostered a supportive network. She is helping women leaders embrace rest, resilience, and resistance as part of their entrepreneurial toolkit. Chelsea is teaching us that building a support system is not just nice to have, it is a strategic advantage. Community, mentorship, safe space for vulnerability, these are vital, whether through family, professional networks, or intentional unplugging. Surrounding yourself with people who affirm your wellness and resilience will empower you to withstand adversity and thrive. So let's bring this all together. Lashawn Reid, Dr. Nika White, Itiona Scott, Chelsea Williams, they are all teaching us the same lesson, but from different angles. They are teaching us that self advocacy, self care, and community are not separate concepts, they are interconnected. They are the foundation of a life well lived, a business well built, and a legacy well earned. And for Black women, especially those of us who have been conditioned to put everyone else first, this is a radical shift. Here's the counterintuitive truth that ties all of this together. The world has taught us that strength means enduring, that success means sacrificing, that leadership means carrying the weight alone. But LaShawn, Dr. White, Itiona, and Chelsea are teaching us something different. They are teaching us that true strength is knowing when to rest. True success is building a life that honors your well being. And true leadership is creating spaces where others can do the same. This is the essence of the soft girl era. It is not about being weak or passive, it is about being intentional. It is about releasing the cape, redefining strength, embracing softness as a radical act of self love. It is about learning to say no without guilt, setting boundaries without apology, resting without explanation. It is about healing in real time, protecting peace as a practice, turning survival into something sacred. So here is my challenge to you: how will you advocate for yourself the next time your health or your voice is on the line? What systems of support can you build today to ensure you are heard and cared for, both in business and in life? Because the truth is, we cannot afford to wait. We cannot afford to be silent. We cannot afford to put everyone else first and ourselves last. The world will not give you permission to prioritize yourself. You have to take it. You have to claim it. You have to insist on it. And when you do, you are not just changing your own life, you are changing the world. Because every time a Black woman advocates for herself, every time she prioritizes her well being, every time she builds a community of support, she creates a ripple effect. She shows other women that it is possible. She shows other women that they deserve it. She shows other women that they are worth it. So let's honor Lashawn Reid's courage. Let's honor Dr. Nika White's wisdom. Let's honor Isiona Scott's resilience. Let's honor Chelsea Williams' leadership. And let's commit to doing the same in our own lives. Let's commit to advocating for ourselves, prioritizing our well being, building communities of support, because the world needs you, not the version of you that is exhausted and burned out, the version of you that is rested, resilient, and radiant, the version of you that is living in your soft girl era, the version of you that is choosing yourself, not out of burnout, but out of reverence. Your voice matters. Your life depends on it. And the time to speak up, to rest, to reclaim your power is now.